Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. It's Deb from Bowl Me Over. I'm so glad you're here. I think you're really gonna love what we're making today, which is sour cream chicken enchiladas. They are so good. They're super rich. Everybody loves them. I think you will too. So let me show you what we're gonna need. We're making enchiladas. So of course we're gonna need tortillas. This is not a traditional enchilada. We're gonna use flour tortillas. In addition, we have chicken. We have some chicken sauce or chicken stock, some shredded cheese, green chilies, flour, sour cream. We're gonna use some butter and then some spices, which is salt and garlic powder and black pepper. Little paprika just to make it pretty. That's all we're gonna need for this recipe. So let me scooch some things over to the side and let's get started. Guys, this is super easy and I know that you're gonna love this recipe. But what we're gonna start with is our shredded chicken. And this is just a rotisserie chicken. So if you have some extra chicken in your, refrigerator, freezer that you've already shredded, great, you can use that. But again, this is just rotisserie. And I'm just gonna run my knife through it just to make sure it's in small bites. And that looks perfect. We're gonna start with the filling. So obviously the chicken's part of that. And I'm gonna take that and put that in my bowl. And just slide it on in. You just wanna make sure your chicken's cooked for this recipe. We're using cooked chicken. Okay. And to the filling, I'm gonna add some cheese. And it's about 2 cups of cheese. That was about 3 cups of chicken. And I'm gonna use about 2.5 cups of cheese. That looks about right. The recipe calls for a Monterey Jack, so you have that whole white chicken kind of look thing. I'm using a Colby Jack today, so that's why you see the orange and the yellow and the white. Green chilies. You can use, you want chopped green chilies. You can use spicy or mild. I'm gonna use the mild because that's what I had in the pantry. That works too. Okay. And I did not drain the chilies. I wanna make sure that they're the interior, the inside of the enchiladas is kind of saucy and not dry. And so we're gonna use the flavor from those green chilies to do that. The flavor and the sauce. Okay, easy enough, right? Wonderful, okay. So next up, see, I told you this is like so simple. We're going to fill our enchiladas. And for that, I'm gonna use my gloves. Keep all that off my fingers. And I'm gonna start just keeping it easy. You know how I am. I wanna spray my casserole dish. This is just a 9x13 casserole dish with nonstick cooking spray. And that's all we need to do there. So now we're gonna fill the enchiladas. And there's gonna probably fit about 8 in here. And you wanna make sure they're generously filled, but not stuffed. So just roll them up and place them seam side down in your casserole dish. So let's see that here. Just a nice generous handful, probably about 3/4 cup. And roll it over, tuck it underneath, and just roll that so you have like a little tube. That's perfect. And we're just gonna keep going with these. And I'm figuring I'm gonna probably fit about 8 and probably have the filling for about 8 in here. Wonderful. And this is exactly what we're looking for. So this is a nice make ahead type thing too, because you could even do this much of it and make it ahead and then just make the sauce when you come home from work. So it's a good dinner and everybody's happy with this one. For serving alongside it, you can just do a simple thing like a Caesar salad and some chips. You could do chips and salsa, kind of whatever works for you and your family. Almost done here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're just doing great. With the reason I put the cheese in with the chicken is because mostly because I'm lazy. And that way we don't have one extra step as we're filling up all the enchiladas. So yeah, that's just about perfect. I'm gonna use my last one right here. Pick up some of the stuff that slid off, okay. And roll that up tight. And there we go. So we have 8 enchiladas in our casserole dish. And now it's time to make the sauce. Again, let me clean this up just a smidge and I'll be right back. Okay, thanks for giving me that quick minute there. So now we're gonna make the sauce. And the sauce is kind of like making a gravy, but don't be scared, it's easy, I promise. If you've never made gravy from scratch, I think it gets a bad name, but it's really not as hard as people think. What we're gonna do is use equal parts of fat and flour. So I have my pan kind of preheating there. It's on about medium. So you hear that sizzle of the butter. So that's about 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm just swishing that around so it everything's conducting. I want that butter melted. And to that, I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of flour. And that's gonna make a roux. Sounds like a fancy word, it's not. It just means a nice, thick base for a sauce or a gravy. And that's just about melted. So when you make a sauce or a gravy or a roux with flour, there's only one trick to it. Well, 2 tricks, but if you do it this way, it will never be lumpy, so that, yay, right? But also you wanna make sure that you cook the flour for at least a minute, and that cooks out the flour taste. So easy enough. All right, I'm gonna use my whisk and just sprinkle in the flour and whisk it around. And I wanna make sure, in fact, if you could come a little closer here, let me show you what it looks like. See how it's bubbling away? That's exactly what we want. And as it cooks, it's going to, if you cook this like for a roux, like you're making gumbo or something, this is gonna cook down and be brown and gorgeous and beautiful. But as this cooks, again, for this recipe, we're making a sauce and we just want to cook out that flour taste. That's the goal for today. And again, just a minute, so it's just gonna take a few more seconds. You want to whisk it the whole time, pretty much the whole time, because you don't want it to burn or to scorch. So we're just about done here. All right, so now we're ready to go. So the next up is the broth. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly pour the broth into the roux that we've made. And actually it's starting to turn a nice toasty golden brown. And if you, again, swing by a little closer here, I'll show you what happens as it begins to thicken. And that's okay, we just wanna see how thick that is there. We're gonna add a little bit more. Continue whisking, see how thick it becomes? Add a little bit more, continue whisking. And I'm gonna add 1.5 cups. And if I think it needs a little bit more, I may go as much as 2 cups. And initially when you pour in the water, the broth, the milk, whatever it is you're using, it kind of separates, but when you continue whisking, it just all comes together. As it continues to heat and begins to come to a boil, I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit. That's what thickens the broth too, thickens the sauce. So I'm kind of checking it out right now. I wanna make sure it's thick, but not stiff. And it's gonna be too stiff yet. I know that it is, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But again, I'm gonna wait until this comes to a boil before I decide to add any more sauce to it. Okay, so this has come to a boil. And see how it's still a little stiff in there? We're just gonna add about 1/2 cup more. That looks wonderful. I'm gonna continue to cook this for just a couple minutes and we'll be back in like 2 minutes. Okay, so I just pulled it off the heat, and it's pretty, it's glossy, looks just wonderful. And I removed it from the heat because now I want to add my seasoning. And that's the salt and the garlic powder and the pepper. So in it goes. Giving it another whisk. Perfect. Okay, so next we're gonna add the sour cream. Sour cream's gonna thicken it up a little bit too. And it's also gonna make it really, really rich. You don't want the sour cream to boil. And that's why I removed it from the heat before we put it in. And now we're just gonna whisk that in. And just continue whisking until you see it nice and creamy. Shouldn't be any lumps in it. How easy is that, right? Okay, sauce is done. Let me give it a quick taste. Sorry about that, I just wanted to make sure I grabbed my spoon. So I'm just gonna give it a quick taste because I wanna know now if it needs any salt, if it needs any pepper. Oh no, that is delicious. Okay. I love these easy recipes. And when it's so simple like this, and you can get dinner in the oven when you get home, lovely. So next, we're just gonna pour this lovely sauce over the enchiladas. Doesn't that look delicious? Now the last thing we want is a dry casserole, right? Even though this is enchiladas, it's basically a casserole. So I'm gonna spread the sauce, make sure all the tortillas are covered. And that remaining cheese, we're just gonna put that right over the top. And that, my friends, is gonna be an amazing dinner tonight. Wonderful. Okay, my oven's been preheating to 350 degrees. I'm gonna pop it in there uncovered this time, uncovered for 30 minutes or so. And just to make it pretty, only to make it pretty, I'm gonna put just a little bit of paprika over the top. And it just gives it a little color. Okay. Give me 30 minutes and I'll be back. Oh my gosh, did the house smell amazing? I tell you, I pulled this out of the oven, let it set for about 10 minutes, covered with foil, and it looks fabulous. Let me just see here. Check it out, guys. Oh my goodness, so good. I have a little cilantro, just thought I'd make that a little prettier on the top, so I'm just gonna drop some over the top. And again, that's just to make it pretty. But we got to try it, right? I'm going to cut a slab of this. I know traditionally enchiladas are, you get the whole enchilada, but for me personally, I'm just going to cut a little slab right here. And you can see as I cut in, that is super, super cheesy. And that is kind of what we're looking for here. Yum. Okay, guys, check that out. Doesn't that look good? So again, the flour isn't traditional, but in this application, it's just so yummy. Let me give it a try. I know you're gonna love this. The sauce is really creamy without being overly processed, obviously. But then the green chilies in there give it a nice little zing without bringing a heat. It's just excellent. It's easy. And who wouldn't love that? I know the kids would really love it too. You guys don't want to see me eating on TV, right? It's okay. I'll save this for later. I hope you give this a try soon. Don't forget all of the ingredients, instructions, etc. They're just below. Give me a like, It means the world to me. Share the channel. It makes such a difference for me, just to get it out there to new viewers. So appreciate you watching today. I hope you really enjoy this recipe. It's Deb from Bowl Me Over. See you next time.